mirror and then a queen of spades from a deck of cards. And you take the card and you place it against the mirror. You get red lipstick, draw a door, and then you say, Queen of Spades, show yourself 3 times.
Hi, Patrick. How are you doing? Nice to speak to you.
Nice to speak to you. I think you and I probably exchanged emails through John Ainsley 2 years ago.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I was just literally just messaging John to see if he had any good questions to try and fox you a little bit. He couldn't remember. He's so busy, he couldn't remember writing. He just said, ask him anything about the script and why the film worked just based on the script. So yeah, so it's great. It's great to speak to you, and congratulations on the movie. I really enjoyed it. I mean, it's got a lot of kind of familiar territory in there, but at the same time, it does a lot of different things. Can you basically kind of explain how John came to write the screenplay? Because I believe it is based on a Russian film, but how much is it actually based on that, and how much is new, if you will?
So the movie came about because I'd done a short film that John and I had written back in 2001 that I'd always been wanting to make, and it's called The Garage. We shot it. I made it in Level Film, who was distributing Queen of Spades, The Dark Right, had the remake rights, and so they saw the short film, and Michael Baker, one of our executive producers, said, "Listen, do you want to take a crack at this?" And I said, "Sure." And it was a matter of John and I, I produced the film Jack Brooks' Monster Slayer. Right. I brought John on board to that because John and I grew up together, and so we've been collaborating for. I'm aging myself now, but for about 25 years. And
yeah, because I think you went to school together, and then you've made quite a few shorts, and then kind of produced or written stuff together, no?
Yeah. So anyways, I reached out to him to say, "Listen, we got this project. Do you want to come on board?" He said yes. We both watched the movie, and one of the first things John said, and I will give him kudos, I wouldn't usually give him a compliment, his first comment was, "Let's get rid of the dad." So I think one of the biggest changes is in the Russian movie, stuff starts happening, and the mom and dad are divorced. The dad comes in and starts saving the day. Right. And it was a matter of like, let's get rid of the dad. Let's make the mom and the daughter more the hero. I would say that was one of the biggest pieces. And then the other one is that.
Sorry to interrupt you, but was there any specific reason why John said we need to get rid of the dad? Was there any reason why you thought that wouldn't work in this adaptation? I
think it was, and I give John a lot of kudos. I think it's also like looking at it and like, trying to be thoughtful in today's day and age. It's like, well, right. Why does the man have to come in to save the day? And I do like the Russian movie. I think it's a great piece, but there's one element at one point where they're in an elevator. The daughter, Anna, is like possessed by the demon, and the mom looks totally out of sync. She doesn't look like she's engaged. And, right. Having 2 kids, like, I'm crazy for my kids, but I think my wife is even crazier, right? She birthed them, she gave life to them. And so I think that, introducing the storyline of just the mom and the daughter was kind of looking at it and saying, listen, in today's day and age, why don't we really make that mom a stronger character? And because it was a matter of, you were gonna, like, one was always going to be less involved. And so it was a matter of, well, why don't we just pick the mom? And so we went with that direction. I
think you were going to say something else, another reason then, before I start.
Oh, and I think the other, I think, again, I think a lot of people in North America aren't really knowledgeable of the Queen of Spades, so they don't know that this is actually not just John and I making up a new myth because we can't get the rights to Bloody Mary or Candyman. Yeah. It's just that this is a myth that is, if you talk to people from Russia, something that they do remember and something they did as teens or whatever, rather than Bloody Mary. Yeah. And I think one of the things the Russian movie, I think, goes in a lot of directions, and the rules of what the Queen can do are a little bit elastic. And so I think one of the things we try to do is very much kind of say, what can the Queen do and not do? How can we kind of play those pieces in there?
Yeah, I mean, it's funny you mentioned that. I was looking up the actual kind of the background of this urban myth, this urban legend, no? And curiously, like in the 70s and 80s, it was something that kind of went around the schools, especially among kind of teenage girls, and it instantly reminded me of the Momo case that went around like a couple of years ago. It was very, very strikingly similar, no?
Well, and I, I just said on the last, another interview is that my daughter, who's 12, at her, when she was in grade 4, there were girls asking other girls to come into the bathroom to do kind of Momo or Queen or a Bloody Mary. So I think it's something, there's a time period in our lives, like in those teen years, where we do these kind of things, and it's like, it's what do you believe, what don't you believe, and I think the other thing is that no matter where you are, if you do something like this in front of a mirror and you stay quiet for 30 seconds or a minute, you're going to hear something that you can't explain. And then your mind starts to play those games on you, right?
I researched it a little bit. I watched the trailer from the Russian movie, and I became familiar knowing that it was an actual folklore, like it was something that people actually did, like you said, in the 70s and 80s. So when we were doing the summoning scene early on in the film, I was like, I really hope we don't actually summon the queen to come visit us on set. That would be horrible if I actually got possessed and people would think that I was like this great method actor or something. No, but there was something that we actually left out when we were drawing the door and lighting the candle and putting the card in the mirror. I believe that there was something that we didn't do, just to be safe, because there could be like this crazy event that could have really turned it around.
Queen of Spades, show yourself. Queen of Spades, show yourself.
Queen of Spades, show yourself.
Now what?
I want to talk about Eva because she's a real trooper. I imagine she was fantastic as an actor. I mean, she's been in the trade for years, but she's a fantastic performance, and she just feels like the most mature person in the whole cast in a way, no?
Well, and that was part of it, right? It's a matter of like one of the themes that we started exploring is, her mom's trying to make a better life for them, but at the same time, Anna, the character is left to be on her own. And I think, we saw a lot of great actresses that could have played the role, but they didn't have the range that Eva has. Eva could play that chilled out teenager with everybody, to then, being able to play that possessed character at the end and really transform who she was and her body movements and the rest of it. She was, I would say she and Kaylin, who played the mother-daughter, were absolutely exceptional. Like they really do drive the movie and have, that grounding, have that story there. They're both excellent.
Yeah, so Kaylin and we actually met on the plane ride there from Toronto to Ottawa, which was very nice. We had lots of conversations about, how we're gonna tackle the roles together and what we could do. And she was super kind and super nice. So it was quite easy to play her daughter, for sure. It was great.
But at the same time, I mean, I don't know if it was just me, but I felt that you were more of the mother figure in the film than she was. Did you not tackle it that way when you went about the role?
Because it was quite interesting because, she would go to work and she's like, I'm sorry. And I got to go and do this. And then I'd be like, I'd get kind of mad about it because my character is she's young. She's kind of navigating the world. She's not really sure what's right, what's wrong. She wants to seem cool, but she also wants to do the right thing. So it's hard to really navigate through all of those motions by herself. And I think Anna at times really needed her mom. And I had to kind of translate that kind of frustration of, I wish you didn't have to go to work. Like, I wish you could be with me, Yeah.
Something else you had to translate in the film was, I mean, you played a 13-year-old in the film who's kind of hanging around with these older adolescents, no? So something that really kind of the film plays around with it is the idea that a young person can be so impressionable with these adolescents hanging around, no? How did you go about tackling that to kind of portray from the screen how easy it is for such a young girl to be that taken into this whole world that you get taken into in the end, no?
Yeah, for sure. Well, since I've been acting from, such a young age, I've always kind of been surrounded, by people that were always kind of older than me. So I always was like, oh, I'm gonna say what I need to say and be who I need to be. But I also have an older sister as well. So I would sometimes be that like annoying little sister who wants to hang out and be with the big kids and things like that. But I totally kind of see similarities between me and Anna, because Anna wants to be cool and mature, but at the same time she just wants to be with her mom and she wants to be kind of protected. So I can definitely, connect the dots between the two of that. You want to be mature and yet you want to stay a kid. So it's kind of that in between stage for sure.
We worked out that more in this one than the original. I think the original has elements of it, but I think we put more of that in there because there's more times where, even the Katie character talks about her mom not being around, how she's kind of has this aggression towards Mary about she's never around, that she's, around Anna more than Mary is. Like, so we very much were trying to say, listen, there's a real reality now that a lot of times because of how much we have to work or, the burden on people, a lot of times kids are left to do whatever they're doing. And it's a matter of sometimes they make good decisions, sometimes they don't.
Hanging out with older people, I'd always myself want to say the right thing and try to impress. But I think Anna was just kind of in her own mind, really just kind of thinking like, like what could I do? And just kind of analyzing what people are saying and laughing, a little awkward kind of vibe within the friend group. So I think that she was just trying to think like, what is the right thing to do? But yet I don't want to be alienated by these people because they are my friends and I do care about them. But she also kind of wants to do what's right. And she doesn't want to be, pushed into something she doesn't want to do. Like for the possession scene where they're really trying to possess this demon or summon the queen, she is afraid, but yet she does it. She says, you know what, I do want to do this. And it kind of shows that she was a little scared when they jump out of the closet and things like that. But she used that bravery to kind of overtake her own insecurities in a way.
What exactly is going on here?
Look at this, okay?
He thinks the Queen of Spades is real.
I don't want to give too much away. I don't want to talk too much about the actual Queen of Spades herself, but she does get plenty of screen time. And I've not actually seen the Russian film, but from the trailer that I've seen, you've taken a very different approach to that, no? The kind of the look and feel of this villain.
Yeah, and I think this goes back to, my introduction to the film world is my aunt is a lady named Delphine White, who did a lot of she's a costume designer, and she did a lot of early Cronenberg movies. She was long-standing in the Toronto scene. And so I've always been very centered towards costume design. And I was able to get a great up-and-coming costume designer named Chelsea Graham. So there was a lot of talk with the visual effects team about the look of the prosthetics and stuff. But then I would say there's another whole element talked with Chelsea about how are we going to treat the wardrobe and how are we, who was this individual and how was she dressing? Because you do comment about, you see the queen, but if you go back and you watch it, a lot of times she's in shadow, it's more that silhouette. It's how are we're letting your mind play what you're going to see. Yes, there are those glimpses of her, but also how are you playing? And I would say, a big piece that went on the prosthetics was she, in the myth, she would drown kids. She would, water always played a factor. So we almost said, how do we get that gray skin that is a little bit waterlogged and the pottedness? So that kind of played a role in how we went about her look.
Uh-huh. And then also I was interested, typically Scream, I don't know if we can call Eva a screen queen in this film or final girl, but she's the star of the show, no? And but she's a lot younger than most horror movies, no? Was that limiting to you in any way in terms of writing the script and also kind of putting things into place?
No, because it was always the intent right from the get-go. I think, there's something to be said about somebody who's younger than 13 versus that 16-year-old, 18-year-old, because I think, when you get into those older ages, and we all know the 80s horror movies always played around with some sexuality and stuff of that nature are coming, and yes, there's the coming of age, but we weren't even dabbling in that coming of age element. I think we were just, it was a young person and how that young person was, dealing with, a family breakup, probably not too long ago, her mother never being around, her trying to fit in with an older crowd, all these pieces. So yeah, I think it was more in that direction.
I think that I really kind of translated my fear into Anna's character. And if this was something that was really happening to me, I would be so scared. And even watching the film, like I kind of get that kind of scaredness. Like, even though I'm watching myself, it's like, wow, like this is kind of scary with the music and everything. But when you're on set, you don't really get that same vibe you do if you're watching the film. You're talking with people, you're laughing with people. It's a completely different vibe. And I think that's a lot of fun. And filming the possession scene where I'm screaming and crying and doing all of this crazy thing, I was, thinking to myself, like, I could really go there. Like, there's not really a limit. I could change my body. I can scream as loud as I possibly can because that's something that I haven't done before. And I was super excited to kind of do something where I didn't have to hold back, which I thought was extremely fun. It was tiring. My voice did hurt at the end of it, but it was a lot of fun to do something that I haven't done before.
Just to finish off then, I think, I don't know, I think it was a different director directed the Russian, it was kind of a sequel or a spin-off, no, in a boarding school or something like that. Yeah. Have you or John got some idea that you'd maybe like to take this somewhere else or carry on where you left off?
Well, yeah, the end leads us to potentially some ideas. We haven't really explored it. I think, John and I have gone off and worked on separate stuff. I know he's got a couple projects that I might be actually helping him with more in a producing way. And then I know he just gave me some notes on a project that I hope to do, early next year. So I think, the plan was, let's get this out, let's see what happens. And if someone wants to come to us, we're happy to have those conversations. John is an individual that is always tricky to cap ideas on. So
brilliant. Well, Patrick, it's really good to speak to you finally. I hope to speak to you again sometime soon, hopefully with John at the same time. Next time would be fun. And
I won't be talking then if it is with John. So
you can imagine. I wish you the best of luck with the film when it comes out. I'm sure it's going to go down really, really well.
Okay, thanks, Howard.
All right, take care then.
It was great to talk to you, Howard. Take care.
All right, take care. All the best. Bye now.